Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy. Our today's lecture is on the topic micronutrients. It is the next part of your nutrients. In the previous lecture I have discussed about the major nutrients that has been used in our daily life. Now in today's lecture we will be talking about the micronutrients. So beginning with our lecture, the mineral and trace element. So some of the minerals are required in gram or milligram quantity, while your trace element are required in microgram amount. Elements that are of biological importance but are not currently considered essential includes your nickel, vanadium, cobalt and boron. So there are some criteria for essentiality of minerals and trace elements are there. Means because why mineral and trace elements are required, because they present in healthy tissue. The concentration must be relative to constant between your different organisms. Deficiency induces your specific biochemical changes, and whose deficiency changes are accompanied by the equivalent abnormalities in the different species, and it also helps in the supplementation correct the abnormalities. So here are some of the common essential mineral and trace elements that are present in our body and also required in a small amount. That is, if you talk about the minerals, for example, your calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sodium, potassium, iron, zinc, fluorine. These all are the elements, these all are the minerals are not required in too much amount but are required in small quantities. And here are some of the trace elements that is also required in micrograms. Your copper, chromium, manganese, molybdenum, selenium, iodine. These all are the elements that is required in trace amount. Okay, first one is your calcium. So calcium is the most abundant minerals in the human body, that is 1.4 gram per kg, and 99% is deposited usually as hydroxyapatite in bones and teeth, where it provides the structural rigidity. So calcium plasma level are tightly controlled by parathyroid hormone and 1,2,5 dihydroxycalciferol and calcitonin. So plasma level are also controlled by the vitamin D metabolite, which also controls the active absorption of calcium from the intestine and osteoclastic resorption of the bone. Here are some of the main function of the calcium is it provides you structural rigidity of the bones and teeth as hydroxyapatite. Intracellular helps in the intracellular signaling control of the muscles and nerves. It also helps in blood clotting and cofactor for enzymes, for example your lipase. If we talk about the deficiency, in early adulthood calcium deficiency can responsible for the stunt growth and failure to achieve peak bone mass. So peak bone mass is achieved in early adulthood and is determined by your genetic factor, use of the skeleton and nutritional factor including calcium intake. So poor calcium absorption occurs due to the vitamin D deficiency, leads to the ricket in the children. Okay, here are some of the common source in our day-to-day life. These are the products that provides approximately 100 mg of calcium per day. If we take 85 ml of milk or 15 gram of cheddar cheese, 50 gram of yogurt, 100 gram of cottage cheese, 20 gram of sardines, 200 gram of baked beans, 3 large slices of white bread, 125 gram of pulses, 20 gram of tofu, 15 gram of tiny. These all are the products that will provide 100 mg of calcium to the body. And some of the common source for daily intake of calcium is your milk and milk product, is your semi-skimmed milk, your cheese, cereals and cereal product and white bread. These all contribute to the foods to calcium intake. Next element is your phosphorus. So Phosphate is present in every cells in the body, although 80 to 85% is found with the calcium in hydroxyapatite. The main function of phosphorus is it forms a skeletal rigidity as the calcium compound hydroxyapatite is doing. Energy for metabolism is derived from the phosphate bond in adenosine triphosphate, your ADP. It also constituent of the phospholipids of the cell membrane. It is a constituent of your nucleic acid as it forms the backbone of the nucleic acid and DNA molecule. So phosphorus deficiency is unlikely to occur as it presents in all plants and animal food. And if P deficiency at birth is linked to rickets at a later stage, the phosphorus deficiency is unlikely to occur, as I told. So here are some of the common sources in the diet. Phosphate is present in all the natural foods and present in many additives. And your good source are shown here, that is your milk and product except butter, cereals and cereal products, your meat and meat products, fish, nuts, fruits and vegetables. These all are the good source that provides your phosphorus element. Absorption is approximately 60% of the intake, and it will decrease by non-starch polysaccharide. So NSP rich diet are also rich in phosphate, so compensating for the reduction in absorption. Next is your element is your iron, Fe. So there is approximately 4 gram of iron in the body of an adult man, of which 2.4 gram is present in as your hemoglobin, and adult women have approximately 2.1 gram of which 1.6 gram is present as a hemoglobin. In a free state, Fe is toxic, and therefore its transport and storage are closely controlled. Okay, here is a diagram, schematic representation of iron metabolism, how iron metabolism is absorbed in our body. So in a free state, I told iron is a toxic, therefore it is transported and storage are closely controlled. If iron is actively absorbed in the duodenum, when the body needs Fe, it passes directly. Means if it is absorbed in a duodenum, it passes directly through the mucosal cells and is transported by your transferrin, with Fe is released and from old red blood cells to bone marrow and 80% of other tissues. Okay, from here it passes transferred to the bone marrow, 80% of where it is absorbed, and on other tissues. If iron is not reduced, it is stored in the mucosal cells and exfoliated. Excess iron that is absorbed is stored as ferritin and or as hemosiderin in the liver, spleen or bone marrow. Iron can be mobilized from these stores when demand is increases. So heme iron is absorbed directly into the mucosal cells. From iron is released by heme oxidase and then bound to transferrin. So here I was talking about it is bound to the ferrin circulated in the red blood cell. When it is required, it is again transported to cells. Heme iron is absorbed directly into the mucosal cells, where Fe is released by heme oxidase and then bound to transferrin. Heme iron represents 10 to 15% of iron intake but contribute more than 40% of the total iron absorption. Here are some of the functions, as it works as a hemoglobin and transport of oxygen and cell respiration. As a myoglobin, it functions as a oxygen storage in the muscle. It has some other functions also. It helps in component, it plays a component of the enzyme, includes those involved in immune function and cytochrome, which are essential for the energy production. Fe deficiency causes anemia, is the most common nutritional deficiency in the world. Here are some of the sources, good dietary source that provides the iron. Your meat, especially offal, fish, eggs, meat extract. Good source such as your bread flours, breakfast cereals, vegetables and pulses, nuts, dried fruits, yeast extract. These are some of the good source that provides you iron. Next element is your zinc. There are more than 200 zinc enzymes in plant and animal tissues, including your alcohol dehydrogenase, alkaline phosphatase, aldolase, RNA polymerase. Therefore, zinc is involved in digestion, carbohydrate metabolism, bone metabolism and oxygen transport, and it is a powerful antioxidant. So Zn is important in the immune response also. It has other vital functions, including your structural properties in some proteins, and it stabilizes your structure of the DNA, RNA and ribosomes, and also it has a vital role in gene expression. Severe deficiencies result in the growth retardation, failure to thrive, delayed sexual maturation, sore throat and immune defects, on circumaural and acral dermatitis. It also results in diarrhea. That is, zinc supplementation has been implemented in the areas in the world where children are affected by the persistent diarrhea, alopecia, and neuropsychiatric symptoms are also seen due to the deficiency of zinc. Here are some of the good source. That is, the zinc bioavailability is higher from animal source than from the cereal, and which contains the phytate. Bioavailability is estimated to be 50 to 55% of the omnivorous diet. Vegetarian and vegan diets have a estimated bioavailability of 30 to 35% of total zinc in that amount. Very rich source for zinc is your lamb, leaf, root, vegetables, crabs and shellfish, beef, offal. And rich source includes your whole grain, pork, poultry, milk, milk products, egg, nuts, etc. Next is your copper. An adult has 80 mg of copper in their body, 40% of which is present in the muscles, 15% in the liver, 10% in the brain and 6% in your blood. So it helps copper is incorporated in many metalloenzymic reactions, and it is copper deficiency is rare, although it can occur in premature infant and patients receiving total parenteral nutrition. So copper is accumulated in the fetus during the late stage of pregnancy, and full-term babies have large stores in the liver. Therefore, increased copper losses can occur disease such as cystic fibrosis and coeliac disease, and in children with chronic diarrhea. Copper deficiency also occurs due to the hereditary condition Meniere diseases, in which copper transport is impaired. And the symptoms of copper deficiency includes your failure of the thrive in babies, edema with low serum albumin, iron resistant anemia, impaired immunity with low neutrophil count, skeletal changes including your fractures and osteoporosis, abnormal blood vessels due to defect in collagen and elastin, hair and skin hypopigmentation with the steely unkempt hair, neurological abnormalities. And here are some of the common sources that provides your copper is your offal, nuts and cereals and cereal products, meats and meat products. So Bioavailability ranges from 35 to 70% of the decrease with the ages, and copper in milk based formula is approximately 50% that is being used in our day-to-day life. Next is your iodine. Iodine is most important. Iodine is a component of the thyroid hormone thyroxine T4 and triiodothyronine T3. Thyroid hormone maintains the body's metabolic rate by controlling energy production and oxygen consumption in the cells. They are also required for normal growth and development, and in the fetus neonate the normal protein metabolism in the brain and CNS requires your iodine. So iodine deficiency disorder in adult results in hypothyroidism and raised level of TSH, which causes hyperplasia of the thyroid tissue resulting in the goiter. So in the fetus, the iodide deficiency disorder results in the cretinism, and this is characterized by a mental retardation and hearing, speech defect, quint disorders of stance, gain, and growth retardation. The degree of this cretinism is variable, and varying degree of growth retardation and mental retardation are seen in infant and children with the iodine deficiency disorder. So iodine deficiency disorder is also linked to increase in the rates of your stillbirth, miscarriage and infertility, and its deficiency in adult results in hypothyroidism. The hypothyroidism is characterized by lethargy, poor cold tolerance, and bradycardia and myxedema. So the amount of iodine in the diet is affected by your type of diet you are taking. Absorption is reduced by the presence of goitrogens in some foods. For example, your brassica vegetables, cabbage, sweet, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cassava, maize, lima, beans. Goitrogens are inactivated by heating. So here are some of the main source that is providing your iodine. First is your milk and dairy product. Sea fish, example your haddock and cod. Seaweed, iodized salt is commonly available in all the houses, so it would be available to you. Next is your selenium. Selenium is an integral part over 30 selenoprotein, the most important which are your glutathione peroxidase, which protects against the oxidative damage, iodothyronine deiodinase, which are involved in the production of triiodothyronine from your thyroxine, selenoprotein P, which is involved in antioxidant and transport function. So deficiency of selenium is associated with the two endemic causes, your Cushing's disease and Kashenbach disease. Your Cushing's disease is common in Russia and several parts of the Asia. It is characterized by cardiomyopathy. Your Kashenbach disease is an endemic mucosal skeletal disorder that has occurred in most of the part of the Siberia and Asia. So selenium is required in a small quantity, and the risk for this, due to the potential risk of toxicity, self-administration of the large supplement is not recommended. So Cushing is measured in whole body. There is a considerable geographical variations in the concentration. The range in UK is your 0.091 to 0.120 milligram ml. The good source for your selenium is your offal fish, Brazil, nuts, eggs, poultry, meat and meat products. Next is your magnesium. Magnesium is an integral part of bones and teeth, that is 60% is found in the skeleton, intracellular energy metabolism and as a cofactor for enzyme requiring ATP in the replication of the DNA and synthesis of the protein and RNA. It is essential for phosphate transferring system and also required in muscles and nerve cell function. Low serum magnesium level occurs when there are increase in renal loss, malabsorption, or changes in the tissue distribution due to the disease or use of some drugs, for example your diuretic and refeeding syndrome. Your hypomagnesemia has been associated with your cardiac arrhythmias and cardiac arrest. Very low level of magnesium are associated with your hypocalcemia. So magnesium is found in all animals and plant foods, and its concentration in the blood is tightly controlled. Arthritis deficiency is unlikely to occur, and as I told, low serum magnesium level causes your when there is an increase in your renal loss, malabsorption, it forms your diuretic or refeeding syndrome. Okay, some of the main sources that is provides you the magnesium is if you take green vegetables, pulses and whole grain cereals, meats are a good source for providing the magnesium to your body. Next element is your manganese. Manganese is a component of several metalloenzymes including your arginase and pyruvate. It is needed for enzyme activity including your glutamine synthetase and various hydrolysis, kinase, decarboxylases and phosphotransferases. Deficiency has only been observed in experimental studies, and fingernail growth slowed, black hair reddened and scaly dermatitis developed due to the deficiency of manganese. Some of the common source for manganese is your cereal and cereal products, tea and vegetables are the good source of manganese. Next is molybdenum. Molybdenum is a cofactor in xanthine oxidase, sulfite oxidase and aldehyde oxidase, and is involved in therefore involved in metabolism of purine, pyrimidine, quinoline and sulfite. An inborn error of metabolism results in abnormal production of coenzyme, and it is characterized by abnormal urinary metabolites, neurological and ocular problems and failure to thrive. So these are the deficiencies due to the molybdenum. The symptoms include your defect in the sulfur metabolism, mental disturbance and coma also. An inborn error of metabolism results in abnormal production of the coenzyme, and it is characterized by abnormal urinary metabolites, neurological, ocular and varied in the most severe cases. So good source includes your offal, nuts, cereals and bread, and are the good source that provides the molybdenum. Next is your sodium. Sodium, an adult male requires 70 kg has total body an adult male that weighing 70 kg has total body sodium is of 4 mole, that is 92 gram and is in extracellular fluid, and 15,000 millimole in bones and 500 millimoles in intracellular fluid. So it functions as a cation in extracellular fluid. It helps in the regulation of blood pressure and transmembrane gradient. It acts as an acid-base regulation and helps in electrophysiological control of the muscles and nerves. So sodium losses requiring repletion can result from excess sweating and in extreme condition of heat and excretion. Sodium is also present in many food additives, for example monosodium glutamate, but most sodium in the diet is present as a salt known as the common salt we are eating, NaCl. So the level are comparatively low in unprocessed food. Salt is added to the food as a preservative and flavor enhancer, and it can also be used as a fermentation control agent in bread making, texturizing, and binder and color developer. So deficiency: sodium loss requiring repletion and can result from excess sweating in extreme condition of the heat and excretion. Next is your potassium. Potassium is an intracellular cation that is involved in acid-base regulation, your electrophysiology of nerves and muscles, and is essential for the cellular uptake of the molecules against concentration and electrochemical gradient. Lack of potassium alters the electrophysiology of cell membrane and causes the muscles weakness. So in cardiac muscles, this lead to the erythemas and cardiac arrest, and motility is lost in the intestine, and mental depression and confusion can develop due to the deficiency of potassium. Dietary deficiency of potassium is very unlikely to occur, as it is found in all the foods, and some of the causes of potassium can be due to diarrhea, vomiting, or small bowel, gastric drainage, ureteric anastomosis, and purgatives. These are some of the causes of loss of potassium from the body. Some of the resource required for this is your fruit, especially bananas, apricot, blackcurrant, rhubarb, fruits, juice, vegetables, especially potatoes and potato snacks, chocolate, cocoa, coffee and coffee products, malted milk drinks, yeast extract, table salt substitutes. These all are the products, rich foods that provides you the good source of potassium. Thank you for being with us. I hope you have understood all the requirements and all the importance of the micronutrients in our diet. For more information regarding this, you can log on to our website www.itlsacademy.com and register yourself. For more information, you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, LinkedIn, and yes, do not forget to subscribe our channel ITLS Academy at YouTube. Thank you.